Welcome back, students, to another lesson on Mahatma Gandhi. We continue with that. Last time we had spoken about the greatness of the Mahatma, isn't it? And I had asked you to watch some informative videos on Gandhiji. Did you do that, students? Did you do that? Yes. Then you would have learned a lot more of information about Mahatma Gandhi. Yes. And I'm waiting to hear about your experiences in the online classes when we meet. So, shall we proceed? We had learned 5 points. Let me just repeat those 5 points right from the beginning that we had learned. The first was he had decided never to leave the path of truth. And what was the first influence of that? Raja Harishchandra, the play on Raja Harishchandra. That was a very important incident in his life, and you can see also that it is a turning point in his life, and he decided never to tell a lie after that day. But we will see a little later what happens actually. Now, number two, he was a very timid boy, very shy, and often scared of ghosts, isn't it? And so, who helped him to overcome? Rambha the maid, yes. And she was the one who told him about this magic mantra of Lord Rama. That whenever you meditate on in the name of Lord Rama, all your problems will vanish. So he had developed this faith in Lord Ram. That was influence number three. Two. Number three is his mother. Now, his mother was a very pious lady and she led a very austere life. Remember, I told you what is the meaning of austere? A very pure life. And that made him move, that made him, understand that we are not supposed to follow our selfish pursuits all the time. We should give up, we should sacrifice, and we should make small little sacrifices in order to for a bigger benefit. Fine. So she taught him that. And number four was the Jain influence in his life. Now he was a Jain, he was a Gujarati, he was born in Porbandar in Gujarat. So he was a Gujarati and his mother also was a pious lady. So they followed all those Jain rituals. Now I had a Jain friend and I know exactly what they did. So if you also want to know, you could ask your friends, they will tell you. Most importantly, they believe in the tenets of non injury to living beings, never to hurt or harm, even a cheetah, even an ant, they would not. Fine, that is something about Jainism which I really like. Fasting for self purification. So he learned the benefits of fasting. Fine. So that was one thing which he learned from Jainism, and we will see Mahatma Gandhi during his freedom movement. He indulges in all these fasts many a times. He goes on this fasting period in order to motivate people to join him, and that was a kind of a resilient non-violent action against the British. Yes, and now we come to the fifth point, that is his wife. Now, what was his wife's name? Kasturbai. Kasturba Gandhi was his wife, and she was almost the same age as Mahatma Gandhi. Now, in those days, generally the husband would be much older than the wife, but this was different. They were almost of the same age, and so therefore there was a kind of a friendship and there was also a kind of a bond, but at the same time there were a lot of fights, because why should I listen to you? You are no better than me, I am no better than you. So we both should understand the logic. Whoever is right should follow that. Fine. So she had that notion. She didn't have that, Pati Dev, that kind of a feeling. She did not have. And that is a kind of a modern woman feeling, which Mahatma Gandhi did not understand at the beginning, because he was not used to that kind of a feeling. He had always seen his mother and other ladies always subservient to the men of the house. So when Kasturba Gandhi did not like something which Gandhi said, Mahatma Gandhi said, and she said that she did not agree with it, he did not like it. So what did she, and he never obeyed. So what did she do? She would go on this quiet Cold War. Fine. So this was something which she taught Mahatma Gandhi, how to win a battle without saying a single word, without hurting a single person. Fine. So this resolute fashion, so that was number 5, and he accepts that in an interview much later in his life. We had stopped there. Now we will continue from there. We will talk about his experience with the truth. Remember, I told you that about Raja Harishchandra. Now there is a kind of an incident which proves that that influence of never leaving the path of truth was very strong in him. Now, I think you must have heard of this incident when the inspector comes to their school, and it's a very, very popular incident, isn't it? And I'm sure you've heard about it. And all the students, the English teacher, especially the English teacher and their class teacher, said that he's going to ask you a lot of questions, so you ensure that you all of you get your things correct. You should answer smartly, because in those times, British inspectors, they used to come on these visits to ensure that proper learning is being conducted in the schools. Fine. So he dictated a few words and he wanted to take a spelling test, a spell test. And he wanted to ask. And so Mahatma Gandhi was also sitting for that test, but he did not know one spelling. And the teacher was also on the round, his English teacher was also on the round, and he could see that Mahatma Gandhi had made a mistake. So when the inspector was not looking, what did he do? He asked him to copy the right spelling from his friend. Mahatma Gandhi sat stubbornly still on page 55. Please underline, sat stubbornly still. What is this? Can you tell me? It is alliteration. Yes, because S, the repetition of the S sound. And why is it being repeated? Because of the word stubborn. He wants to, yes, that he was so stubborn. He sat stubbornly still. No way, I'm not good. The teacher is saying, copy, copy. He says, no, I'm not going to copy. Why should I copy? I don't know it. I'm not supposed to copy. Isn't it something totally opposite of what you do? Isn't it? Teachers will tell you not to copy, but you all want to copy. Look at Gandhi. Learn from Gandhi, my dear. And that is why he became a Mahatma. If you want to be something very great, you should follow these. A person who is supposed to be, who is going to make a name for himself in future, we get to know from his childhood itself. Yes. So if you want to be like him, so you have to emulate him, copy his mannerisms, you copy his ideals, his principles, his ethics, and all the principles and all that he did, his thought, his philosophy. If you try to imbibe that in your life, never know, you might be also somebody as great or even greater. Yes, I'm sure all of you would be. All the students except Mahatma Gandhi got their spellings correct. Why? Because they copied from each other and they got it correct. But Mahatma Gandhi did not get it right, and his teacher was very angry with him, but that didn't bother him. Why? Because he did not mind. He did not mind at all, because he said that I have done the right thing, and he had that confidence in himself. Even though his teacher told him to copy, he understood that his teacher was telling him because the teacher was doing something wrong. That is not right, and that would not be a true picture of his learning. And so he stood by his ideals at that tender age. That was remarkable about Mahatma Gandhi. And did you know which spelling he got wrong? Find out. We'll discuss in the online class. I know it. You should find out. It's very easy. You can just Google it out. Now we will come back a little bit more about his. This was an incident to prove that he stuck to his promise that he's not going to tell any more lies. Okay, he's never going to tell a lie ever in life. But adolescent period is such a period, I'm sure you all know, that you get influenced by a lot of incidents, situations, friends, family, and strangers. Sometimes they have a very big impact on your life. And that is the time which is a crucial stage which builds up your character, your true character. When a person is very young, the person is under the tutelage of the parents, and the child always obeys their parents. But when the child becomes an adolescent, you are at that stage, class 6, class 7, class 8, class 9, class 10. In 11 and 12, you start understanding, but till 10, 6 to 10, these 4 years, there will be a lot of influences, temptations, peer pressure, and you will all want to give in to that, even though you know that it is against what your parents have taught you, against what you have learnt in the books, it is against what your teachers have been telling you all from right from the beginning in school. There will be a kind of a conflict going on in your mind, and sometimes you may give in to temptations, and that is what happened with Mahatma Gandhi. He is also a human being. He was also a human being like you and me. So there was some temporary lapse. Please underline in the second paragraph. There are few dramatic incidents. Now there are some incidents which happened, which created a lot of drama and conflict in his life. That's why he's saying it as a dramatic influence incidents. He had now crossed the line, and he wanted to always choose the right over wrong, but there was a temporary lapse from the vegetarianism practiced by his family. Another thing about the Jain culture and the Gujarati culture, they are all vegetarian, strict vegetarian. They don't even have eggs. Yes. So, strict vegetarianism practiced by his family. And one occasion when he stole a piece of gold, just imagine that Gandhi, who had said that he will never ever tell a lie, he stole a piece of gold from his brother's bracelet in order to save money to buy cigarettes. So, see, students, adolescent period is a time when you get into these kind of temptations. But the point is that you might get into those temptations, but at the same time, if you can stop yourself at the right moment, and you can bring back yourself to those ideals and those principles which you had initially begun your life with, that is what would say you would be victorious, like Gandhi did. Now, why did he get into this kind of, getting into stopping from vegetarianism and started indulging in eating meat? Now, there was this few of his friends who wanted him to enjoy the company of the non-veg food. So they said, "Arey, if you are a Lalu Panju like this, if you eat only vegetarian food, you will never be able to fight the British. You want to fight the British." He had that kind of patriotism. See, that was the time when India was thinking about patriotism. They had enough of the British rule. So they wanted the British to go away. And so there were a lot of movements going on at that time. And Gandhiji was also a very patriotic, this British Bharat Chodo Andolan. He wanted to do that. He wanted to drive away the British. So what did he decide to do? This friends says that if you have vegetarian food, you can't fight the British because they all have non-veg food. And that's why they are strong. So unless you eat non-veg food, you won't be able to fight them. So he thought that it was a very logical point. He started eating those non-veg food, and he started enjoying the taste also of the non-veg food. I wonder how, but still he started enjoying. But he had to tell a lie to his parents, isn't it? Because he's eating food outside. When he comes back home, you remember that ad of that masala? He goes to his friend's place and he has butter chicken, and his mother says, "Paneer khalo, Shahi paneer." And he says, "Ye to Shahi paneer butter chicken se bhi badhiya hai." And the whole family is shocked. That is the kind of a feeling that they would have had in Mahatma Gandhi's life. You remember that ad? If you haven't seen, it is some masala, some Tata Sampann masale or something. I am not sure, but it is some masala. So he had to tell a lie to his parents, and that irked him. IRKED. That is a kind of it's a word which he was very uncomfortable with. He didn't like the feeling of telling a lie to his parents. So he decided to do something about it. And clandestine manner, that is a word given in your book, page 55, second last line. Clandestine manner, in a very chori chupe. That is the meaning, is actually when you are trying to hide, and you are going to do it in the without it disclosing the fact to your parents, in a hush hush manner. pushing him into a position of lying to his family. So he did not like that. Why? Because he did not value his physical strength more than his moral strength. This was more important than this. Yes. So the moral ethics, that his heart did not allow him to do something which is wrong just because of attaining a physical strength. He says no. Physical strength can be got in many other ways, but I cannot compromise my moral ethics, my principles, the things which I had decided I will never tell a lie. I'm going to stop that. And he stopped. One fine day, he just decided, I'm not going to do this. He realized, there is a time when a realization dawns on you, because sometimes you feel uncomfortable. When you feel uncomfortable when you're doing something wrong, I get a very bad feeling in my stomach. I try to understand, why am I doing this? Why am I feeling this? You have to analyze. You have to listen to your conscience. God speaks to you, but you have to allow God to listen. Remember, I sang that song for you, Make God Your Guru? Yes, that is the song you will have to, that God will always speak to you through your conscience. Make God your guru, let him tell you what to do. Listen, he's calling clear and true. Take time to listen, take courage to obey. The inner voice is calling you. There are voices all around me, my enemies and my friend. Do this, don't do that. The chorus never ends, but I shall always listen to that quiet inner voice. It's swift and definite, and I have made my choice. Make God your guru, let him tell you what to do. Listen, he's calling clear and true. Take time to listen, take courage to obey. The inner voice is calling you. Okay? So you will have to listen to that inner voice, and you'll have to analyze your actions once in a while. When you're feeling uncomfortable, when you feel ये सही नहीं हो रहा है, मैं कुछ गलत कर रहा हूँ, कुछ अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है, then you need to know क्यों गलत हो रहा है, क्या गलत हो रहा है, and you need to stop it. That is God speaking to you. So Mahatma Gandhi did just that. Okay. So another time, his another friend, he also got into another bad habit of smoking cigarettes. Once some two cigarettes butts were lying, and they decided to start smoking, and they liked the feeling, and they felt, हाँ अब तो बड़े हो गए हैं, we can have cigarettes. It's a kind of status quo that unless you smoke a cigarette, you cannot grow older. Rubbish. Your biological age also doesn't prove that you are old. This maturity, your EQ and your IQ makes you an adult. Remember that, students, always. Your habits, your addictions, they don't prove. Your words, your thoughts, your actions. If you can prove that you are an adult by these three, then you are an adult. Other things don't matter. Don't give in to those temptations. Fine. So Mohandas stole money and went into debt. Now he had to steal money to buy cigarettes. He can't tell Papa, mujhe cigarette kharidna hai, give me money. Can't say that. So he had to steal money. So when he started stealing little, and suddenly it got into, he started buying cigarettes on loan. That means a debt. He got into a debt and he had to repay that loan. So what did he do? He stole his brother's bracelet, the gold from his brother's bait. And he stole that and he sold it and he repaid that. After that day, he could not sleep. He just could not sleep. Did you see that? Next, third paragraph. There was no respite for Mohandas after that. He could not sleep or be at peace, tormented by the thought of his crime. He was so crippled by the thought that, gee, ye maine kya kiya? That kind of a feeling. He could not accept it at all. He was not able to come to terms with that. He felt ashamed of himself. He could not sleep. He said that I have stolen from my own house, from my own family. I'm being telling lies. What am I doing? And Raja Harishchandra, when I was young, I had decided never to tell a lie. At that young age, I did not listen to my teacher even, who told me to copy from my friend. And now I have started lying, stealing. What have I done to myself? one fine day he decided that he's going to stop all that. So he wrote a letter to his father, and he decided that from that day he's never ever going to do something wrong, and he accepted, and he said sorry and apologized to his father on that day. And his father was also a great man. He just tore up that letter and just said he felt very disappointed with his. So that was enough for Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. No amount of scolding or beating or anything, that disappointed look on his father's face, he could not take that. So he decided never ever to do something like that. And so truth was his companion all his life. Ever, ever. He never ever told a lie after that day, after the letter, and he cried so much. So he wept loudly and he became wedded to truth. See, in the first, second, third, fourth paragraph, there is a line. It's beautiful. Wedded to truth. You know, two people wed to each other, wedding. When two people get married to each other, they get wedded to each other, and they promise that they will never ever leave each other throughout their life. Now, what did Mahatma Gandhi wed to? He wedded to truth. He decided never to leave the path of truth. That is beautiful. He was full of remorse and he wept aloud like a baby. And he wept, and that real, they were not crocodile tears, they were real tears which cleansed him, which made him pure, and he got a resolve never to ever tell a lie ever again. So Mahatma Gandhi's strength, greatness did not lie in never doing wrong. That is something that you must understand, students. It's not that he never ever did something wrong. He did many mistakes, but he learned every time from those mistakes. So you must also learn from your mistakes if you want to become somebody great. There's no point, there's no harm in making mistakes, but you must learn from it and never ever do it again. So in fact, I would like to end the class today, the video today. But one thing I must tell you, that in the beginning I told you about Mahatma Gandhi as a political leader and a spiritual leader. Very few people are found like that. Did you find anybody else? I found one, Sri Aurobindo. He was also a political leader who was fighting for the country, full of patriotism, and he did a lot for his country, for the freedom of the nation. But he also set up this Aurobindo ashram in Pondicherry. Have you visited his ashram in Pondicherry? You must go. It's beautiful. I've heard a lot about it, and I also want to go one day. After this pandemic, go and relax. Just by the sea in Pondicherry, it's a beautiful ashram to go and spend 1 or 2 days over there, and you will find a lot of peace, and you might be able to analyze your actions. And because all of us are all surrounded by the din of the city life and this maddening day-to-day work, humdrum of our day-to-day life. But if we take a moment to pause and to understand and analyze ourselves, we might discover our true self. And that may also help us to be someone great someday. The biggest victory, my dear students, is victory over your own negativity. Remember that. Okay? So no big victory can be bigger. No victory can be bigger than your victory over your own negativity. So if you can fight that, you can fight anything. So I will leave you on this thought. Read the chapter again, and we can discuss the doubts in the online class. Okay? Stay safe. Bye bye.